Good morning, everyone. We are going live in just a minute.
Medicare recipients are entitled to one pair of quality diabetic shoes and 3 custom inserts. Call the Soul Authority today, 954-597-7060.
Does your life insurance policy only pay someone if you die? The new life insurance policy.
Welcome to the show, everyone. Subscribe. If you're not subscribed, we'll be live in about 90 seconds,
All life
probably
insurance
less.
carriers in 2020 have adjusted their premiums to your advantage. Life insurance rates have been lowered due to the updated mortality tables. People are living longer in America, and that means life insurance premiums are lower. Call Debbie and Dan at I Will Advisors, 954-753-8080 to learn more and for a free review of your existing life insurance policy. 954-753-8080. 954-753-8080.
Here we go. Hey, Patrick, what's up? Yeah, I got a haircut. They cut off way too much hair yesterday.
$450 for married couples. When you complete your trust with attorney Barry Siegel, he will give you a $100 gift certificate to Tavolino Italian Restaurant in Coral Springs. The Siegel Law Group, with 9 offices in South Florida, including Boca Raton, Plantation, and Coral Springs.
Here we go.
Call 1-855-FLA-3782.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio.
All righty. Welcome to the program, everyone. My name is, I didn't plug my mic in. Can you believe that? I went on the air without plugging my mic in. It happens. Welcome to the program, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. You are listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. We are here live. It is Thursday morning, the 5th of March, 2020. We've got a lot to talk about today, including a pretty brilliant move by Chuck Schumer. Yeah, Chuck Schumer made a very smart move yesterday. We are going to talk about that. And also, do the Democrats really have a race going on? And, I'll tell you, I'm not going to say who on the air. I'll tell people during the break on the live stream. But a very long time and close friend of mine and Steve Kane's, one of the people that are, I got to tell you, probably next to me, the person who is closest to Steve Kane in friendship, had a terrible car accident. And Steve and I are both a little thrown off by this, and they are not doing well. They're on life support as we speak. So, yeah, but the show must go on. And it's pretty sad thing that's going on right now in our personal life. And you got to bear with us. And it's not a on-air radio person, but I will tell people on the live stream during the break. Because there are some people in the live stream that I see already this morning who know this person, so I would want to tell them about that. But I'm a little off today because it's been on my mind. I guess on my mind a little bit heavier this morning, and because I guess I got a lot of solitude in the morning because I'm up so early doing my show prep and everything, and. It's kind of sometimes when there's personal things, when there's things on your mind and you have to go on the air and do a show, it can be pretty difficult. Steve is very shook up about this, so I'll tell you guys in the live stream and maybe on the air later. I just I got to try to distance myself from that until we, because we got to be on the air, and then after the show I can, I can't get myself in a depressed state while we're on the air, but it's something I was sitting here thinking about it, and it just got me a little down before I went on the air. So anyway, listen, there is a lot going on, there is a lot happening, and we're going to talk about all of it. Chuck Schumer is a jerk. I mean, there's no question about it. I've never liked Schumer, in particular. I've never liked the guy. I've never liked Chuck Schumer. Let's be honest. I mean, come on. There's nothing likable in my mind about Chuck Schumer. There just isn't. And yesterday, to think about don't text me when I'm on the air, people. Don't text me. And I'm getting here. There's beeps in the background. Those are text messages. I'm getting text messages from people. Several people, probably a large part because of the thing I just referenced. But anyway, I've never liked Chuck Schumer, but I really thought he went over the line in that White House meeting with the president and Nancy Pelosi last year. It was just so disrespectful. Elections have consequences, et cetera, and all this stuff. And he was just so disrespectful. And he's so arrogant, Schumer. And everyone's talking about Schumer and what he said yesterday. And of course, the Chief Justice, who I don't trust at all because he sold us out on Obamacare, John Roberts, Bushy there. Chuck Schumer, what he did yesterday was a very smart move. He went out there, he attacked Trump's Supreme Court justice picks. There's a case going up in front of the Supreme Court that they were hearing just yesterday, and it involves abortion clinics. Is it Alabama? In a particular state needing hospital privileges. And that's probably a pretty good idea when you're talking about surgical procedures. I don't know how they've written this state law that's being challenged at the Supreme Court, but it's Louisiana, Alabama, pretty much the same thing if you get my drift. I don't know exactly how this law is written, but if they're directing it specifically towards abortion providers, that's not really a smart move. And sometimes, a lot of Republicans, a lot of conservatives do things, I believe, to prolong a fight and an argument about something and don't do it in a small. I think all places that do any type of office surgical procedures, which would include cosmetic work, like breast implants and things like this and facelifts, a lot of people have what I consider to be pretty major surgical procedures in people's offices. The cosmetic industry is big here in Florida. I don't know how it is outside of Florida, but this is, it's people spend a lot of time out in the sun in bikinis and bathing suits, and they want to look good here in Florida. And there's too much surgery done in office, not just abortions, but cosmetic. And I'm sure there are others as well. I think that's crazy. I've been lucky. The only surgical procedure I've had is my tonsils removed, and I did that in a hospital. And I would imagine that a lot of these surgical procedures that are done in offices, both cosmetic and abortion, are more serious of a procedure and more risky than a tonsillectomy, which they really don't even do those anymore like they used to. They used to just yank them out all the time back when I was getting mine out. I had my tonsils removed when I was 18 years old. And I am very much opposed to having these in-office surgical procedures, not just abortion. So if these pro-life conservative Republicans in Louisiana, if they focused it solely on abortion providers, that's not a very smart tactical move. I would hope they were smart enough to include all outpatient surgical facilities that do certain types of surgeries that rise to a certain level of risk. And abortion, depending on what stage it is at, can be a pretty risky surgical procedure. And, they should have hospital privileges. And I've heard terrible stories about people having in-office surgical procedures and have known of them over the years, and there's too much risk involved. But with that, all that is, a lot of times, listen, there are liberal activists we hear from the most. There are conservative activists as well. And oftentimes, conservative activists who are advocating for very good causes, for example, the pro-life movement. There's a lot of pro-life activists out there. They call them anti-abortion activists on CNN. You know what I'm talking about. But there's a lot of good people out there that are pro-life activists, but they go about it all wrong. I was talking a few weeks ago on the show that the pro-life movement, I believe, shouldn't be so much about abortion as it is about promoting adoption. Because adoption, my daughter's adopted, my mother's adopted, Steve has 5 kids that are adopted. So, adoption is something that people don't understand. It's not promoted. They think it's expensive. There's a lot of guys are really, I can't raise a child. It doesn't come from my seed. There's all that. So if the pro-life activists, I've been saying this for years, if the pro-life activists were more involved with the promoting adoption and the ease of adoption, that would wipe out a lot of the abortion problem. You know what I mean? And it's in a way that's not so offensive. Even I don't like, I'm a big fan and supporter of Lila Rose, who is a leading pro-life activist who did an incredible series about 10 or 15 years ago showing what Planned Parenthood was doing. So she was posing as a 15-year-old girl impregnated by an adult male in their 20s for an abortion. You remember that. But Lila Rose is always posting on social media the bloody aborted baby pictures, and I don't think that's effective. So in Louisiana, I hope the bill covers more than just abortion, because if it doesn't, to me, it's almost as if they don't want to solve the issue. A lot of conservative activists want to keep things going, too. And conservative activism, there's been a lot of losses from conservative activist groups. I think they've lost the abortion fight long ago when they had the morning after pills available over the counter. What do they call that? Plan B? I don't know why they call it Plan B, because B is the first letter in baby, and you're trying to plan on how not to have a B, but is it called Plan B? With the abortion pills available over the counter that people that are, take like aspirin, surgical abortion, while it does still occurs on such a tiny little scale compared to what it did years ago. And I know I'm Catholic. In fact, my shirt, I didn't even realize this as I'm talking about this, but my shirt says Catholic on it. I'm wearing a Catholic t-shirt today. I know I put it on this morning, but I forgot I was wearing a Catholic shirt. I just saw myself in the live stream video. I forgot I had it on. I know life begins at conception, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But the pro-life activist and a lot of conservatives out there fighting the abortion fight go about it in a way that's counterproductive, and I think oftentimes on purpose, to prolong their activist life. Liberal activists do this all the time. We talk a lot about how Democrats don't want to solve the issue of the dreamers and undocumented because they want them constantly dependent on them for their ability to stay in this country. And a lot of conservative activists, like many pro-life activists, are the same. Now, so far as Chuck Schumer, the Democrats don't have one issue to run on. They got nothing. The Democrats have nothing. And they're in a lot of trouble. And they have really a party that stands for what now? What does the Democrat Party stand for? What issues do they... Is the Democrat Party out of date? Are there any issues on the Democrat platform? Are they relevant? But what the Democrat Party is fighting for today, even with them doing everything they can with the machine to make sure Bernie Sanders doesn't get the nomination, the Democrat Party is fighting for relevancy because they're about to go the way of the Etzel and the Whig Party. You know what I mean? They're about to fade away from existence because the Democrat Party stands for very little, if anything, and it's an out-of-date party. And what Schumer did yesterday was have their party stand for something, even though it's an old issue that I don't think means a lot to a lot of women of childbearing years these days. But he went out there and he created something, the Democrat Party fighting for something, because as you see these candidates all over the country, they really have nothing to stand for or to fight for or to vote for me because of do-do-do-do-do. They got nothing. It's an out-of-date party that really has no purpose any longer. Who are they representing? The Democrat Party at this point exists for one reason and one reason only, for their donors that are the big mega corporations to donate money to do what Bloomberg said, buy members of Congress to do the bidding of the corporate elite, right? I mean, that's basically what it is, and to keep people like Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer in power. But the party stands for nothing today. And Chuck Schumer, I think yesterday, during this controversial exchange, has brought a little bit of relevancy back to the Democrat Party among their activist fringe. you know. And I don't think what he did yesterday was a slip or an accident or, I think he went out there doing something to make the Democrat Party relevant and to try to get some people at the polls. You think this is a coincidence? Right after Super Tuesday, when we're getting all this data about Democrats losing so many votes, these stories about Bernie Sanders not getting the turnout that he once got here and there, even in his own state. They're losing young people, and part of the young people are women of childbearing years. And they're losing a lot of other people too because of Trump and the success of Trump and how he's redefined the Republican Party. And Chuck Schumer just went out there and said some things yesterday to try to bring some relevancy back to the Democrat Party. And I think he might have been a little successful at that. So we'll talk about that and much more. Your calls are welcome. Our number toll free, 1-888-GO-KANE 1. 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. My name is Brian Craig. You are listening to the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show. We'll be right back after this.
This is Brian Craig. I've been telling you about the great deals and incredible customer service at Friendly Tire on both new tires and used tires. One of our listeners, Antonio, went to Friendly Tire and called to share with us his experience of buying used tires at Friendly Tire in Margate.
Good morning. You're on the radio.
Hey, yes, Brian. I want to give you a quick testimony about the tire place up in Margate, Friendly Tire. Friendly Tire is everything you said it would be, man. I went up there and got me some used tires. And when I went up there, man, he was very courteous. My whole family's going for that, man. Everything you said it was going to be, man. I appreciate you for that, man. And Mike's a great guy, man.
Well, what's your name?
Antonio.
All right, Antonio. Hey, I'm glad we could save you and your family lots of money on tires at Friendly Tire. Steve Kane Show.
Yeah, man. Thanks so much, man.
Do what Antonio did. Stop into Friendly Tire and find.
Now, I'll tell people during the break here because I saw. Is Patrick still in there from Colorado?
Right now, 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. And Mike will give you a quote right on your phone. 954-977-9445 for Friendly Tire in Margate.
No, I was our Todd, who's a good friend of Steve's, a good friend of mine. He's been with us on all the cruises. Steve and I have been friends with Todd for over 20 years. And I know Patrick because we were hanging out at the bar on the cruise. He got into a severe car accident. He is in a coma. He is on life support in the hospital here in town. And it just happened like that. A lady ran into him. He wasn't even in motion in his car. Steve Kane Show. And he got pinned under his vehicle. They had to pull the car off of him. It's awful. Just awful. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and I know a lot of our cruise people know him because he goes on all the cruises.
If you suffer with diabetes, there's a 25%
Steve Kane Show.
Develop a foot ulcer that can lead to severe health consequences, including.
Yeah, I know, it's pretty serious. Oh my gosh, it's awful. Awful.
Little or no cost, you can receive your very own therapeutic shoes and custom inserts. Medicare recipients are entitled to one pair of quality diabetic shoes.
No doubt about that.
Inserts. Call the Soul Authority today. 954-597-7060.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for WW.
All right, we're back. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to the Steve Kane Radio Show. I got a haircut yesterday, and this is probably this guy that cut my hair yesterday. He cut like almost all my hair off. I am practically a bald man, and I think he did it out of spite, out of jealousy, because I get my hair cut at the same place, and they do very, very good job. And when I sat down in the barber chair, the barber, the guy that cut my hair, he says to me, "You're so lucky to have all your hair." And I didn't even think about it. And I looked up in the mirror, and I saw that the guy cutting my hair basically had no hair. And I know, basically had no hair. So I've got a bald man who, he had a little bit of hair left that he's trying to hang on to. And he starts cutting my hair. He cuts it way too short. cuts it almost all off. And as he's cutting my hair, he starts telling me how sometimes he has guys come in, they come in to get a haircut, and they're balding or they got big bald spots on the top of their head, and he says they're almost in tears as they're in there looking at themselves in front of the mirror getting their hair cut. So I feel like this guy that cut my hair yesterday, because I've got a full head of hair, luckily, knock on wood. I think he cut off all my hair because he doesn't like guys with hair. I'm going to make sure he doesn't cut my hair again next time I go in that place. I go to the same place, get my hair cut all the time. And I know it's one of those things. It's one of those things. But you know, a lot of it has to do with Dr. Mitch Matez. You know, hormone replacement pellet therapy. This is an amazing thing about hormone replacement pellet therapy. It does all these great things you hear Dr. Matez talk about. And it also stops hair loss in its tracks in both men and women. You know? And not only does it stop hair loss in its tracks, hormone replacement pellet therapy, the hair that you have left grows back thicker and fuller and faster. So if your hair is thinning, both men and women, hormone replacement pellet therapy will stop that hair loss. The hair you have left will grow back thicker, fuller, and faster, so you can cover up those thinning, balding areas much easier. And this guy yesterday, though, I tell you, he's never going to cut my hair again. But you know what? The good thing about hair is it grows back. So he could try to make me part of his baldy club all he wants. It's growing back, baby. I'm sorry, and I can't wait. I mean, maybe I'll go a long time without a haircut. So I'll go in with this big, poofy, thing of hair and walk in there. Make sure he doesn't cut my hair, but just put my fingers through my hair while I see him so he can, what a jerk, trying to make me part of his bald club. But call Dr. Mitch Matez. Hormone replacement pellet therapy is a miracle, and it will stop your hair loss, both in men and women. And again, the hair you have left will grow back thicker, fuller, and faster. Call Dr. Mitch Matez, a completely free consultation, 561-953-5490. You've got to mention the Steve Kane Show for that free consultation. 561-953-5490. All right, let's go to Conservative Doug, who's got a full head of hair. I saw him at Wings Plus a couple weeks ago.
Good morning, good morning.
Hey.
You mentioned Chuck Schumer. As a New Yorker, man, that guy, I always used to say, how the hell is voting for this guy? Well, how is he in power? Nobody likes him, but he still manages to get the votes in all the time.
Yeah.
How he owns his big mouth about the Supreme Court. I'm hoping that maybe finally they'll get him out as well.
Well, they're talking about censuring him in the Senate. What good does that do? That's a badge of honor to the crew that in the machine in the Democrat Party that keep reelecting this jerk.
He keeps getting here. I don't know how. But then again, the New Yorkers and the Democrats do vote. That's what they.
Yeah.
Maybe don't vote as much as they should. Democrats will vote. They don't care who the hell is.
Yeah. I know. That's how they got the D next to their name. That's changing. That's changing. I was thinking about hair, because I got my, you and I have full heads of hair, right? And let me ask you, when you were younger, did you wear hats too much? I didn't wear hats. When I was in high school, someone told me that if you wear hats all the time, because young guys wear hats all the time, ball caps, that it will cause your hairline to recede and it can cause hair loss as you get older. And I stopped wearing hats after that. I don't wear hats very often unless I really need to. You've got a head of hair on you. I told you look like Rick Springfield back in the day with that hair. And I wonder if you and I not wearing hats is the reason that at our ages we have all of our hair.
That one before.
You never heard that one before?
Never heard that before. I wear my Make America Hat again now.
Yeah, I wear mine too, but I don't wear it all the time. I don't wear hats all the time. I don't know. Well, listen though, when you I was thinking about this morning when I was doing my show prep, and I'm putting together audio sound bites. I put together a whole string of audio sound bites, and I didn't even put them in the computer here at the radio studio to play on the air. I chucked them all. Chuck Todd them, Chuck Schumer them all in the circular file. And the reason I did is a lot of it had to do with Biden, a lot of it had to do with Bernie, and of course this thing with Chuck Schumer. And then I started thinking about Biden and Bernie Sanders because Charlie Kirk yesterday had a text or a tweet. I'm a little off today, guys. I'm sorry. I know I'm misspeaking as much as Joe Biden today. But Charlie Kirk had a tweet yesterday talking about the number of votes that Donald Trump had in the Republican primary this week in Texas. Listen to this. Republican turnout for Donald Trump on Super Tuesday, because there was a Republican primary too. Republican turnout for Donald Trump in Texas Tuesday night was 1,879,758. All four top Democrats combined 1.6 million. And, Trump had, 1.9 million. And what Charlie Kirk pointed out was so true. He says it's an uncontested race, right? The people that turned out and voted for Donald Trump Tuesday night in Texas, there was no contest. They didn't have to turn out. There was no real reason to do it. It was just symbolic. And when it was an uncontested race that people didn't have to turn out for, and Donald Trump got more votes than the top four Democrats combined, that means a lot of people didn't even bother in Texas to turn out on Tuesday night to vote Trump. That tells you the kind of wave we're having. And the reason I chucked all of my audio sound bites this morning, and I'll bring them back tomorrow, was because I was thinking about this presidential primary race between Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders. Is it really a race at all? Is what we're watching in the news just the news running stories about two pathetic presidential races to have the illusion of a competition going on with this, and then the illusion of a competition in November for television ratings? It's both of these candidates. It's down to two people now, right? Biden and Bernie for the nomination. They're both clowns. Bernie just isn't a communist. His wife was involved in that huge financial thing at the college. And Biden, everything about Biden's corruption on top of his mental slipping going on. They're both a couple of clowns. I mean, they're not even credible. They're not credible people as presidential candidates.
I talked to somebody, a Democrat yesterday, who was really annoyed. Why would anybody not want to vote for Bloomberg? If anybody, he had the best chance.
Well, I remember there was during the primaries in 92, for the 92 race, there were all these different candidates around. Like, I don't know if this was 90, it had to be 92. Like, remember Paul Tsongas and all these people? And there's always these people running for president, and it's a big deal in the news. And Paul Tsongas, I don't know why his name, and I believe Tsongas started with a T. For some reason, it was like spelled T-S or something like this. He had his own line of shirts that came out during the primary season, and people were wearing Tsongas shirts, and they were kind of like a button-up flannel-looking thing, like like the lesbians used to wear back in the 90s. But Tsongas wasn't a lesbian. The television are in the business of ratings and getting you to watch and getting us to be concerned about certain things. And this morning, right before I went on the air, I'm like, how can I talk about Biden and Bernie and what they said yesterday and what he said yesterday, and how many times are we going to say Bernie's a commie? It's promoting these two as actually being in a race that's in any way, shape, or form credible is fake news. And but what about the speculation of Warren? And she's got, what does she have, 65 electors under, what will she do, and what will the plan? There's a leaked email. It's all fake news, and I just can't get passionate about it. I'm sorry. I could lie and tell you, but to talk about Biden and Bernie Sanders as credible candidates for anything other than I don't know, a prison committee, right? A prison council for Biden with all his corruption. It's a joke. It's a joke, and a little bit of this happened. I was listening. Yeah, go ahead.
I tell you one thing, I compared to Bernie supporters and Biden supporters, seems to me like everybody seems to love Bernie. His people seem to love him a lot more than they love Biden.
Well, these two candidates. I mean, come on. Can you honestly say? Can anyone honestly tell me that Bernie Sanders or in his current state, Joe Biden are credible candidates? But the news, the news is in a little bit of trouble right now, right? The stock market's come back. Remember, last week was going to be a financial collapse. Trump has coronavirus all under control. The impeachment acquittal happened. They've got nothing. So they're for people to be interested in on TV. So they're trying to have the illusion of competition between Biden and Bernie, and make you feel as if there'll be some real competition after that for Trump when he's going up against whichever is the nominee. Give me a break. Their voting turnout was so depressed when that Texas example I just gave. It's a joke. And I'm listening to some of these hosts. Oh, we know Bernie's a communist. I was listening to one guy, and he had all these sound bites. He opened up, coming back from a break, he came back with all these, a montage of Biden's slip-ups. Okay, he's a senile old man who's suffering from some type of age-related dementia brought on by age, not AIDS, see, I'm misspeaking, brought on by age and probably alcohol abuse throughout his entire life. I mean, how many times are we going to play the slip-ups and putting together a montage and laugh at a situation that I would consider to be elder abuse? And that would be putting him up as a candidate. I don't know.
He's 10 years older than Reagan when Reagan was going to be president, and he's up there.
But people are, he's about the same age that Reagan was when he was leaving office, but people are living longer now. People are living longer, and they're healthier, and they've got, that's why, Debbie from I Will Advisors is telling people to call to look over their insurance policies. Your existing policy, you can lower that premium because the life expectancy has been increased. So when Reagan was running in 1980, he was 69, and he was 70 and 81 when he took the oath of office. 69 today ain't what it was back in 1980 when he was running. It's much younger now. All right, appreciate the call. Thanks so much. If you're on hold, stand by. Let's take our break. 35 minutes after the hour. I'm Brian Craig. Don't go anywhere.
You've been told you need a health test. What are you going to have to pay? Health tests can be very expensive. If you go to your doctor's office or one of the big labs, it can cost you hundreds of dollars. Sometimes I haven't had lab tests because of the cost. Then I discovered Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs. Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs' goal is to get you all the lab tests you need, save you money, and get you in and out in 15 minutes or less. At Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs, you never need an appointment, no doctor's order, or prescription needed either. You can walk right in and have any of their thousands of lab tests done for just a fraction of the price the big labs or your doctor's office charge. Give them a call, 954-906-5983.
Take care, have a good day.
954-906-5983. Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs is located on the southeast corner of University and Ramblewood near the Coral Square Mall. Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs. Private and affordable lab testing. 954-906-5983.
This is Lori Kane, and I want to tell you about Brighton Dental Care. I just had a lot of
Welcome,
work done,
everyone.
and I avoided going to the dentist for a lot of years because I was afraid of the cost. But I went to Brighton Dental for my free consultation, which, by the way, he offers to all Steve Kane listeners. I had 2 cavities. I needed a crown on top and a crown on the bottom. If I were a horse, they would have put me down. So I scheduled my appointment for the next Saturday because Brighton Dental has Saturday appointments available, and they saved me a ton of money. And I will be a patient for life. Don't let cost stop you from taking care of your teeth. Brighton Dental gives Steve Kane listeners incredible discounts on all dental procedures, just like they gave me. Prices are so reasonable, you don't have to worry about the cost. So call Brighton Dental today at 954-922-4633. That's 954-922-4633. You can visit them at brightondental.com and tell them Lori Kane sent you.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for WW.
All right, welcome back. I'm Brian Craig. You are listening to the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977. Our number toll-free, 1-888-GO-KANE1. That's Kane with a K, K-A-N-E. 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. All right, let's go to Mike in Louisiana. You're on the radio.
You know, Brian, I've always been a hat guy. You know, I wear hats, and and you and I are about the same age.
Mm-hmm.
And I was born in the early '70s and stuff like that. But I've always been a hat guy, and it just seems like every month my hair is always down my neck. You know.
Well, what's going on top? Have you suffered hair loss?
Oh.
Okay. Well, maybe I don't know. I'm sticking by the hat theory. I never, but we'll find out one day. I don't know. We'll do a sample. How many of the men who were bald wore hats in their youth regularly, daily, as opposed to those of us who were not balding that did not?
Right.
I don't know.
As far as Schumer, look who he attacked. Look the two judges he attacked. Gorsuch and Kavanaugh, right? And who?
Yeah. Yeah, Trump.
By proxy, he's attacking
Thank you.
Trump again. Now, Trump may or may not believe in the abortion issue or whatever, but by proxy, he's attacking Trump. It's another attack on Trump.
Yeah. Kavanaugh, I kind of forgot about Gorsuch and Kavanaugh. I don't think about them too much. Because once these guys get appointed to the Supreme Court, they've got that lifetime appointment. You don't hear from justices too often. You see them here or there. But I was thinking yesterday when this happened, what poor Kavanaugh and his family went through during those hearings. I mean, these Democrats are real bottom-feeding scum. The way what they did, they promoted something that I believe they knew to be false, about those allegations against him. And he had spent his whole life as a squeaky clean Marine, and then they do this to him because of their hatred of Trump. It was disgusting. The poor guy. How many good qualified people will turn down a position like that in the future because they don't want to be put through what Kavanaugh went through? And they've got these standards. Congress makes the laws, so they make the laws to benefit them. And, they just destroyed this guy with slander after slander. And nothing can be done about it because it's in the Congress. You can't slander someone from, these congressmen can't slander people when they're in their positions in Congress. It's disgusting what they did. It's shameful.
It really is. And that's what I was thinking about is, the proxy attack that he was, because he knows he can't, even if they do try to impeach the president again, he knows it's not going to work again. And he knows that everyone's going to see that if they do it that close to the election, see right through what they're going to try and do,
Well, the media, it's so interesting because we talk about, there's a big debate now is, what is the mainstream media? Is it television or is it the internet? And this happening yesterday with Schumer, which was really, I think it was a nothing happening. President Trump is criticizing judges all the time, isn't he? I mean, I've heard him criticize that. Remember that Mexican judge and the Trump U case and everything. I know they're saying this was a threat. I don't think it was a threat. I don't think Schumer's as smart as he thinks he is, and as many people think he is. And he just worded something poorly, and there's no one, I despise Schumer. He's a disgusting person, but it was not a threat, in my opinion. But it really shows you how powerful the television news is, because that story was pretty much 100% pushed by the television media. And the television media, even though people think it's kind of fringe now, because the internet is so powerful, television still has tremendous amounts of power, and the Schumer story is being pushed by television. I mean, look at how Fox, everything is about ratings. Look at how Fox has been sucking up to these Democrats to get a Democrat debate on the Fox News channel for the first time. Everything that they do is based on ratings.
We saw that they had, Gavin and a few other of the more fringe candidates on Fox, and
Well, it can be difficult. There are days when there's the news media for, I guess it's been 5 years now since Trump's been on the scene. So, for about 4 years, the news has been 100% Trump. 100% Trump. Every story is Trump, even before he won the presidency. So, and they hate him. They hate him. Right now, everything is going so well with Trump. The economy, Corona, everything that Trump is involved in is going so well. The coup, I talked about when he was acquitted in the Senate, I consider that to be the official end of the coup. So when the media don't have anything to televise bashing Trump, they're at a loss. And they create things for us. We're supposed to be upset at Schumer now. What the media do is what liberals do, put each other at people's throats. I don't give a damn what Schumer says on any day of the week, including yesterday.
I mean, the last thing that they made a big deal about was
Steve
the
Kane show.
whole drop with the stock market, that
Hey.
1,000-point drop or whatever.
Yeah. And then it's back now. Market's back now. Overnight. Yeah.
But, they made a big deal because they said, oh, this is going to be the story of the economy dropping.
Yeah. Now, you're in Louisiana. This whole happening yesterday at the Supreme Court was because of you guys in Louisiana with this law requiring abortion providers to have hospital access or hospital privileges in case there's a issue at the abortion clinic. Is this a big story in Louisiana local news?
No.
Really? You don't even hear about it? No.
Basically, we look at it like, yeah, the law is out there, but we basically, because of the whole ultrasound, the whole technology, ultrasound issue, we won the abortion thing because we can prove that it's not just a bunch of cells.
I think most women of childbearing years know this. The only people that are obsessed with abortion these are the groups of women that are obsessed with abortion. Liberal old blue-haired ladies, right, who are living back in the 70s in their minds still, the glory years. Lesbian activists, okay, and a bunch of Hollywood starlets that have had multiple abortions to keep their figure in shape in Hollywood, and they have all this guilt for what they've done. So to overcome the guilt of the abortions that they've had so that they wouldn't get, what comes with a pregnancy and destroy their Hollywood careers, they become abortion activists. I mean, and most of these actresses are out-of-work actresses. They can't get arrested. And, So anyway, all right, appreciate the call. Mike in Louisiana, thank you. Good morning, you're on the radio.
Hey, it's Mike in Boca.
Mike in Boca, 2 mics in a row. Hey, Mike.
Yeah, Chuck Schumer is a non-story.
Yeah, I agree.
I believe he did it on purpose. And the most that's going to happen to him, if it happens, which it won't, he can get censored. That's about it.
Yeah, and that's meaningless. It's meaningless. Yeah.
Oh, he caught yesterday, but late in the afternoon, Bernie gave a 20-minute speech.
I did miss that. What was in it?
Okay, you need to watch it. Because he praised Biden. He said Biden is a good guy, and I'm not going to tackle. So he's basically throwing
Steve Kane show.
You don't believe me? You can watch the video.
Yeah, he's setting the stage for dropping out and endorsing Biden and setting the stage up for whatever they bribe him with this time. Maybe it'll be a position. Maybe it'll be a cabinet position. Maybe it'll be another lake house. I don't know, but it'll be something. Yeah, that's interesting. So he's already. I told you on Super Tuesday night, Bernie Sanders looked defeated.
It's on YouTube now. You got to see it. He looks totally defeated the whole time he's talking.
Well, because he's been surrounded by these, because he's been traveling the country. He's been traveling the country for years now, surrounded by people telling him how brilliant he is and how he's their savior and they love everything about him. And then he got that massive rejection. Can you imagine what that must be like? Because You know, the only rejection I've really dealt with in my life is when I was younger and girls would break up with me, and how humiliating that was. Could you imagine what it's like to be rejected nationally or by an entire state of people? And then it's terrible.
And then you can ask Biden and Bernie that
Yeah.
the whole life.
I mean, yeah, exactly. So I think if I were Bernie, I'd be looking pretty upset too if I'd been rejected by millions of people that I thought loved me. Because, you know, you ever had a girl break up with you? Yeah, and you thought you thought she was into you, she cared about you, she loved you, she dumped you, and it's humiliating, especially when everyone knows it. You know, and that's what happened to Bernie on the national stage, and that's why he looks so down. He should have made his deal before Super Tuesday. Now they don't really need to deal with him. He's going to lose on his own.
And now they've got to deal with dementia jail. The whole thing is crazy. It's just,
Are you turning left or turning right, Mike? I hear the turn signal. No. I hear the turn signal. I heard the turn signal. Are you making a left?
always.
Are you making a left turn or a right turn? Because I could hear the click.
I'm at the four-way. I'm stopping.
Oh, you're at a stop sign. Okay. Why is the turn signal on? Why was the turn signal?
Long story short, I'm working, so I had to put the four-ways on.
Oh, I see. You got the four ways. All right. Hey, take care, Mike and Boca. All right. Okay. He's driving some type of company car. All right, we'll take our break. Last break of the second hour of the program. It's 7:49 in the morning. My name is Brian Craig. You are listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be back right after this.
To proudly welcome a new sponsor to the Steve Kane Show, and it's Ace Hardware. Not just any Ace Hardware, but two special Ace Hardware stores in our area. The first is Ace Hardware, located at 365 South Federal Highway in Deerfield Beach, just a quarter mile south of Hillsborough Boulevard on the west side of Federal Highway. And Beach Ace Hardware at 232 Commercial Boulevard, Lauderdale by the Sea, half a block west of A1A. If you own a house or condo, you would do yourself a favor to visit one or both of these special stores. There is such a different shopping in these stores compared to the depot type stores. Service and product selection is what it's all about, and they have a great selection in all their departments that will save you from running around from store to store. And you can get help from their employees who have the knowledge to always put you on the right track to get any project done, large or small. They have happy customers because of the way they treat their customers, and you will become a happy customer too. The list of what they sell is almost endless, but includes plumbing, electrical, sprinkler parts, fasteners of every kind, garden tools, including the largest selection of steel garden equipment. Plus, they are an authorized steel repair center.
Of course. 561-244-5779. 561-244-5779.
Delivered to your home with free assembly. They have the largest selection of key blanks, many down to the color you choose. Even the key fob remote for your doors are sold at these stores, priced lower than the car dealer. Screens
I'm looking forward to that cruise in December. I need a vacation.
I could go on and on, but you get the idea. They will make
my
your life
vacation is I come on the air at 7 instead of 6 today. That was my vacation till the
Ace
cruise.
Hardware locations are Ace Hardware at 365 South Federal Highway, Deerfield Beach, just a quarter mile south of Hillsborough Boulevard on the west side of Federal Highway, and Beach Ace Hardware at 232 Commercial Boulevard, Lauderdale by the Sea, half a block west of A1A. Or call with any questions, 954-531-6265, 954-531-6265, and make sure to tell them you heard about them on the Steve Kane Show.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks. Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for W.
All right, we're back. I'm Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977. All right, let's go to the phones. You're on the radio. Good morning.
You lack the intellectual capacity to debate any progressive liberal. Have a nice day.
Wait a minute. This can't be Al. This can't be Al. He hung up. He called and hung up. That can't be Al. He called yesterday off the air, said he was never going to call the show again, and told me that Steve and I could go to hell. Oh my goodness. I will say this to Al. I knew that was him. And the reason I put him on is I did have something I was going to talk to him about. But I'll tell you this, Al. Um, so far as your calling privileges, the call you can the restriction we put on Al was he couldn't call after 8 a.m. He had to call before 8 a.m. And if you pull a stunt like that again, you'll be banned. That's it. You're not banned. Okay, we just have to limit your calls, and we can't jam up the last hour of the show with you every day. So, but you're not banned yet. But if you pull that stunt again, you just did. You will be. Okay, because we're not here to be treated that way by callers. Oh my goodness, so defeated. Oh, yesterday on YouTube, a Fox News on their YouTube channel. I follow a lot of news outlets on YouTube. One American News, Fox News. They put on, it wasn't a press conference, but there was a meeting that the president had with Vice President Pence with the heads of the airlines yesterday. And they put the entire meeting, which was a bit of a press conference because there was Q&A from press, on the Fox News YouTube channel yesterday. Did any of you catch this in its entirety? Not a soundbite that they might have put on television. I tell you something, Donald Trump, when it comes to coronavirus, has everything so under control, it's unbelievable. And Pence, I was always a little concerned about Mike Pence. And Pence is awesome. I was so impressed. Yesterday was the first time I really got to see Mike Pence in action. And he is awesome. He is as competent as Trump, and he's absolutely amazing. You know, he's been put in charge of the coronavirus task force, I guess, of the presidents, whatever they're calling it. And this is not some symbolic post that he's doing. I remember Obama put Biden in charge of something once. I can't remember what it was. Oh, he made him the gun control czar. And he put him in charge of something else. And he wasn't really working. There was one of the issues, I can't remember what it was, but Biden was put in charge by President Obama to work with Congress to do something. And Biden said, this is when he was vice president, we are working 24/7, 3 days a week or something like that. Remember that? He said, so they work 3 days a week, but it's important that we're working hard 3 days a week on it. Pence impressed me so much yesterday, and he is working full-time and really leading this coronavirus task force. And I was watching this yesterday, and the president he was there with the heads of the airlines, and they all talked and they took questions. And also the doctor that is the lead CDC doctor and some people from Health and Human Resources and things like that were there. And when they got into the details of what the government is doing in regards to coronavirus, President Trump threw it to Mike Pence. Mike Pence not only detailed in tiny little tiny details of everything they're doing, he was calling out by name the different people from the government agencies, including CDC, who are doing particular things. And he knew, I was so impressed with him. And I was a little concerned about Pence for a couple of reasons. And I've been very, very wrong about Mike Pence. My first reservation with Pence is he always put me off a little bit because I never really got to see his personality. And when I can't see someone's personality, I'm often suspect. But I've gotten to know him now. And then I thought, you know, after Trump's second term in 2024, he doesn't seem to have much of a personality. And can someone without a personality win the nomination and the presidency? I was concerned. And I'm wondering if President Trump has put Pence in charge of this coronavirus issue to start showing how competent and great of a leader he is to set the stage for him for the nomination in 2024. And I think so. I was blown away by the competence and personality of Mike Pence yesterday. And we have nothing to fear in 2024 with Mike Pence. He is an amazing man. He will make a great president after Trump's second term. And his knowledge about the tiny little details of what the government is doing in regards to coronavirus is spectacular. You know, one thing that Trump brought out yesterday, that I know this soundbite made it to the news, of how he reversed this Obama rule on lab research and lab testing. And what Obama did, he had a rule in place that testing labs in the states around the country, apparently a lot of state universities have testing facilities for all kinds of things. And Obama put a rule in place stopping them from being able to test easily, that they would first have to petition the FDA and go through this FDA process before they could do any type of testing. And Trump reversed that rule, threw that rule out, and now throughout the country, at state facilities are testing for all kinds of things involving coronavirus. And Trump has really clamped down on coronavirus. And Pence, who always gives the credit to Trump, yesterday in this press conference, if you can find it online, they were sitting at the table in the White House with the airline heads. And you should really watch it. It will blow your mind at how detailed Pence was in his explanation of everything that's going on. And he was all off the top of his head. So Pence, this isn't some symbolic ceremonial post. Pence is really taking the lead and is working very hard on coronavirus. That's why things are going so well with it, and it hasn't spread. I saw a story over the weekend that Trump said not to bring those 40 back that were exposed and infected, and some government official defied his orders and brought them back. Did anybody see that story? I was looking for that this morning and couldn't find it. But I did read that over the weekend. But if it wasn't for the incompetence of that official to let those 40 come back, it would be almost zero in this country. And yesterday, what Trump was talking about with and Pence with the airlines, they've got the airlines doing multiple screenings before a flight takes off, and then they get screened again when they land in America. And you've never seen such competence as we've seen from the Trump administration. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that President Trump is not a lifelong government guy, that he's from the private sector. And in the private sector, results are not only expected but required. Without results in the private sector, you're out of business. And Trump is a results-oriented person. And when he brought these heads of the airlines in, who were from all the major airlines, were in there praising Trump and his action, and were gladly working and cooperating with them. It was pretty amazing. And Pence, have no fears about Mike Pence. He is going to be a great president. He's going to be a great candidate, and he's going to wipe the floor with whoever he is up against. He's an amazing man. And any reservation I ever had about Pence is gone after watching him in action yesterday. All right, it's 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm Brian Craig. You are listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. We'll take our break and be back for the third and final hour right after this.
8.3 FM, 96.9 FM, 103.9 FM, and AM 1470. WWNN Pompano Beach is the Florida Money Talk Network.
So you've been told you need a health test. What are you going to have to pay? Health tests can be very expensive. If you go to your doctor's office or one of the big labs, it can cost you hundreds of dollars. Sometimes I haven't had lab tests because of the cost. Then I discovered Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs. Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs' goal is to get you all the lab tests you need, save you money, and get you in and out in 15 minutes or less. At Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs, you never need an appointment, no doctor's order, or prescription needed either. You can walk right in and have any of their thousands of lab tests done for just a fraction of the price the big labs or your doctor's office charge. Give them a call, 954-906-5983. 954-906-5983. Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs is located on the southeast corner of University and Ramblewood near the Coral Square Mall. Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs. Private and affordable lab testing. 954-906-5983.
Denture wearers, are messy adhesives ruining the taste of your food? Is it painful for you to eat? Does the constant denture movement affect your speech? Are you always worried that your dentures will fall out while you're talking or laughing? Do you have sore spots? You are not alone. These are common problems that can be solved simply with dental implants. This is Steve Kane, and I want to introduce you to Brighton Dental Care, where the Kane family goes for all our dental needs. You won't know what hit you. Cost to stop you from being able to eat the foods you love again and live in comfort. That's why for Steve Kane.
Welcome everyone. Make sure you subscribe.
For just $3,500, that includes 2 implants plus a lower denture. Now, if you go to a dentist in Boca or in Aventura, they're going to charge you $6,000.
Oh, awesome, sir.
For the exact same implants and denture. That's right, $6,000. But at Brighton Dental Care, just $3,500, and that includes the 2 implants plus your lower denture. Laugh and live with confidence. Call Brighton Dental Care at 954-922-4633, 954-922-4633, and online at brightondentalcare.com. Be sure to ask about special discounts for our military veterans.
Did you know that all men begin
I want to tell you,
by
Gorsuch.
age 30? The decline in testosterone levels leads to a decline in general well-being. We slowly lose our energy, stamina, libido, sexual function, and a host of other symptoms. Men are bombarded daily with marketing for male enhancement techniques and other jiffy fixes. Most of the time, these are treatment mills where you may see a doctor once, but your treatment's going to be managed by technicians. This is Dr. Mitchell McTass. If you want personalized treatment by me, a well-trained, licensed medical doctor with 2 decades experience in age management medicine, call the Boca Raton Center for Age Management. Your evaluation, treatment, and follow-up will all be done with the doctor, and as always, the consultation with me, the doctor, is free for Steve Kane listeners. Call
Steve Kane Show.
The Boca Raton Center for Age Management at 561-953-5490. That's 561-953-5490. Or visit our website at hormonetherapybocaraton.com.
The Steve Kane Show is brought to you by attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. Avoid probate with a revocable living trust. $350 for single people, $450 for married couples. When you complete your trust with attorney Barry Siegel, he will give you a $100 gift certificate to Tavolino Italian Restaurant in Coral Springs. Call the Siegel Law Group with 9 offices in South Florida, including downtown Fort Lauderdale, Coral Gables, and downtown Miami. 1-855-FLA-3782.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for W.
All right, we're back. I'm Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show. Third and final hour has begun. Before we go back to the phones, did Chuck Schumer, did he really threaten 2 members of the Supreme Court? Let me play it. You guys decide. Well, I'm trying to play it on my iPad, but it froze. Come on, iPad. Here we go.
I want to tell you, Gorsuch. I want to tell you, Kavanaugh. You have released the whirlwind, and you will pay the price. You won't know what hit you if you go forward with these awful decisions.
Okay, wait. I don't think that's a threat. I'll throw that out to you guys. I think he's just a lifelong politician. He forgot his rhetoric he forgot to change his rhetoric to direct it away from an elected opponent like President Trump to someone who has a lifetime appointment. I don't consider that to be a threat. I think if he said it against an elected official who is facing a re-election or an election, I don't think it would be seen as that, because these guys, I think he meant Price at the ballot box. He just forgot that they don't run for all. That's just me. I'll take your thoughts on this. 1-888-GO-KANE-1, 888-465-2631. Was that really a threat? What did Chuck Schumer mean? All right, let's go to Mel. Mel, you're on the radio.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning, Brian. Chuck Schumer is a bagger, hot win. But I really wanted to comment on your Eric Trump and Donald Trump Jr. and Pence.
Yeah.
So together, if I may. In 2024, I think Pence would be excellent. I was always impressed with him, and it was a great decision by Donald Trump that put him as the VP. And I'd like to see one of the Trump boys as VP. And I would pick Eric, because I'm very impressed with him. But either one would be a terrific VP, and I think that would be...
I don't even know how old Eric is. How old is Eric? Is he old enough?
More than 39, but...
Oh, really? I didn't think he was that old. Hey, listen, when you're a billionaire, you don't age as well. Yeah. Well, yeah. I listen, I was talking yesterday. Eric Trump, who you don't hear... I knew Eric Trump from The Apprentice, but I hadn't really paid much... And I've seen him on an interview here and there. But when he was giving election analysis Tuesday night on Fox News... I was very impressed by him. I was very impressed by Eric Trump. And what I realized then is that, and I was talking about this on the show yesterday, is that forever we are going to have Trump rallies because Eric and Don Jr. are going to be having Keep America Great rallies forever, and they are going to become as important as the Kennedys were for many years to Democrats, that we've got a new political dynasty out there. It's the Trump family. And Eric and Don Jr., one of them will be the president of the United States one day. I don't know which one, but one of them, I always thought Don Jr., but after I saw Eric the other night, he's a politician too, and they're both natural leaders. So one of them will definitely, without question, be the president of the United States one day. Steve
Just
Kane
the
Show.
old expression, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. All of Trump's children are really very bright and very talented. And what?
Yeah, but Ivanka just became a Republican like this week, so we don't, Ivanka, But Don Jr. and Eric are very impressive, and they're going to maintain the MAGA movement. Will be around for the rest of their lives, and it will always be out there. And these rally, I mean, listen, after Trump's second term, there's nothing going to be like having a president. I used to hear people praise Reagan, and I remember Reagan being president, but I was a kid. I don't think Reagan was ever like this.
No, I agree. One last quick comment. The Republicans have a talent. Going back even to 2016, they had a lot of people in those debates. What was it, 15 or 16 people, and I preferred some over others. But I was, I said to myself, I would be comfortable with almost any one of them. The Democrats can't come up with anybody, and the Republicans.
Well, Mel, what I was talking about at the top of the last hour, what I was talking about is the Democrat Party is an obsolete party at this point. They stand for nothing. And Schumer talking about abortion. Abortion is such an out-of-date issue. It's like talking about, and a lot of people don't even know what this means. They'll Google it, though. Talking about abortion is as relevant as talking about free love. Yeah, you're old enough to know what I mean. Yeah, well, that's how old. Exactly. And going out there and talking about abortion is such an out-of-date issue. It's, the only people that care about that are people that still shop at bookstores, and they're hard to find. You might as well be talking. Free love is the best example because that's irrelevant today. They stand for nothing. They're obsolete, and we are actually seeing something I never thought I would see, and that is one of the two major parties fade away for something else to rise up, and it'll probably be democratic socialism.
You're right again. The Republicans, as I said, are producing statesmen, and the Democrats are producing.
Well, Donald Trump has, yeah. Exactly. Well, what's happened with Donald Trump? Donald Trump has forever changed the expectation that voters have for politicians. We want experienced people that have a list of accomplishments, that are doers, not a bunch of people that talk pretty things. We've got to turn the page for the future, and when we turn the page together, nothing can stop us. And they never tell you what they're talking about. You know what I mean? They vague generalities. It started with President Kennedy, and I'm sorry, it did. And it's continued until Trump came down the escalator. And people now want results from their politicians, not vague generalizations that mean nothing. All right, take care. All right, Richie the Tooth, you're on the radio. Yeah. Yes.
I gotta ask you permission to.
Oh, here we go.
Off the air about the person that was in the accident.
You know about it? I am too.
Human beings I've ever met.
Well, I'm gonna tell people who now. There is there's a very nice guy. He's just a couple years older than I am. He has been my friend for over 20 years. He's been Steve's friend for longer than that. And next to me, he's probably the person closest to Steve. And he goes with us on all of our cruises, so our cruise people know him. His name is Todd, and he's one of the greatest. He's one of those guys that if you call him at 1:30 in the morning and ask him a favor, he'll get in his car and come drive to you and do it. And he's a great guy, and he was in a severe car accident, and he is on life support in the hospital right now as we speak. And I'm really in shock about it. And yeah. Yeah.
Steve up from Palm Beach. He wants to know his last name so he can see him in the hospital.
Well, he's not taking visitors. I spoke with the family. There's no visitors, no one, and I'm not, but what the best thing to do is because I know we've got this everybody in our cruise group know Todd very well, because and if you've been to an appearance that we've done over the many years, you've probably met Todd because he comes to most of our appearances. A prayer circle is what we need right now more than anything.
Secondary today for me.
I'm telling you, and it's very difficult to do a show, when you got something like this going on. And I did, yeah, I know. That's why Steve's really upset. I mean,
Politics, a show is a show. I always said, Brian and Steve, it's only a show. And they're the first to tell you it's only a show. When you meet them outside of the radio, they're the nicest people, and the people that go on the cruises with us. I mean, it's Todd. Todd, you mentioned him. He is I can't believe it. I mean, we hung out together. He's unbelievably a nice person. And like I said, Steve from Palm Beach is in shock, too.
I'm in shock. And Todd, he's only about 52. And I've known him, pretty much my whole adult life, because he's been, and he and Steve are very tight. He and Steve go out to dinner together every week. Yeah, and a lot of times, you guys don't know this, but Todd comes by all the time on his way to work and sits in the corner in the studio while we're doing the show. He never talks. He never comes on the air. You never see him on camera. He's very tight with Steve. I'm close with him. And everyone that's been on our cruises, I mean, he's buddies with everybody from the cruises because he's been on all the cruises. I know I'm upset about it, and in this kind of business, you're on the air when things are going on. My stepfather passed away the day of the funeral. I was on the air. My wife's been in the hospital. Facing things. I'm on the air. It's tough sometimes. They say the show must go on. You know what I mean?
But people out there don't realize, I don't know how the hell you're doing this show.
Steve tells me all the time, no matter what is going on in my personal life, I can go on the air and for the 3 hours of the show, block it out. And Steve does not have the ability to do that, nor do most people. And I wouldn't say, yeah.
Show up today.
No, he's not. He's not going to be here today. He's very upset. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, the best thing we can do for Todd right now, and the reason I'm telling you guys is because I know so many people in this audience have met Todd at appearances. Everyone that's been on our cruises have met Todd. He helps us, when we're on the cruises. He helps us organize everything when we're out there. I know you guys all know him, and the best thing we can do is have a prayer circle, but don't try to find him or anything, because I talked to his father yesterday, and it's just family. They don't, you know what I mean? It's pretty, but he's on life support. I did get all this stuff, but I would say no, but it's upsetting. It's tough, and I'm glad you guys know about it, because you can, and I don't mean symbolic prayers. I mean really a prayer. You can do silent prayers to yourself. Uh-huh. All right, take care, man. All right, that's Richie. We call Richie, the bus driver, Richie the Tooth now, because one of our liberal callers the other day, because Richie does the, you know, you hear him in the commercial for Brighton Dental and Dr. Gupta, he called him Richie the Tooth, which I kind of like that nickname. So it's still Richie the bus driver, but on occasion it'll be the Tooth. All right, let's take our break. 17 minutes after the hour. I'm Brian. This is the Steve Kane Show.
This is Steve Kane. I'm here chatting with Dr. Troy Lemaski, my personal chiropractor. Dr. Troy, how are you today?
Doing well, Steve.
Chiropractic is an art. All the nerves in your body go through your spine. If your spine's out of line, the nerves get pinched, and of course you're going to have all kinds of symptoms and all kinds of pain as a result of that. And until you get that spine realigned, you're going to be in pain.
100% correct. If you have a joint, especially in your back, that's stuck, that's not moving properly, it will put pressure not only possibly on nerves, but more of the time on soft tissue structures such as the ligaments, the muscles, and it will create pressure. There are nerves within the joint called mechanoreceptors, and they will affect the actual nerves that are in the joint. Pinched nerves are very common, and they do come from spinal misalignments, but not everybody that has a problem has a pinched nerve.
I've been seeing you for a relatively short period of time, and you have the healing touch, I'll tell you that. When I walk out of your office, I feel like a whole new person. I know you take great care of everybody, but I know you're going to go that extra mile for our wonderful Steve Kane listeners. Doctor, give them the number of the office where they can make an appointment.
It's Coast Chiropractic Injury and Wellness Center, and the phone number is 954-463-3036. 954-463-3036. We're located in East Fort Lauderdale.
Steve Kane Show.
We're just one block east of US 1 and Oakland Park
Steve,
Boulevard, right
yeah.
off Middle River Drive. The address is 2510
What's that again?
Park Boulevard, Fort Lauderdale.
Dr. Troy Lemaski, a great healer.
It's I don't have the information right in front of me as you ask me.
Stop being an outrageous
Yeah, that's where I'm going.
bullshit
Candace
with
Owens is
tires.
going there. So
So easy
just
to
Google
put
just
budget
Google
tires at
Blex
Friendly
at
Tire
Fort
and
Lauderdale.
Margate.
It'll come
They
right
have
up.
all the major brands,
Okay?
Goodyear
Take it. All right,
and
thanks.
Firestone at discount prices that absolutely can't be beaten. Steve Kane's tires for his Toyota van. At the other shops, $175 a tire. At Friendly Tire, just $75 a tire. That's a $100 savings per tire. Tires for my daughter Emily's car, $135 at the shops around town. The price at Friendly Tire, only $65. That's a $70 savings per tire. These prices are out the door and on the road. Free mounting and balancing and no added charges. Friendly Tire have a great selection of good used tires too, starting at just $30 for most cars. Call my good buddy Friendly Mike at Friendly Tire. Tell him what you drive and he will give you a great low price right over the phone at 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. Online, friendlytire.net.
Feeling old, tired, run down, struggling with your sex life or weight control? Dr. Matez can fix it. Call the Boca Raton Center for Age Management at 561-953-5490 or visit their website at brc4am.com.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for WWNN.
All right, welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. You are listening to the Steve Kane Radio Show. You know, we're welcoming as sponsors of the Steve Kane Show this week any lab test now of Coral Springs and any lab test now of Boca. There are lots of any lab test nows, but these locations are the ones that are sponsoring the Steve Kane Show. And they are great. They're the same owners for both locations. Any lab test now of Coral Springs and any lab test now of Boca. And both locations, same owners, they guarantee the lowest price on all of their thousands of lab tests. And, you know, I got to tell you something. You know, great thing about any lab test now of Boca and any lab test now of Coral Springs is everything is always confidential. Nothing goes on your medical record. You know, sometimes people are just going in for a cholesterol test, and you don't want it on your medical record. Everything is always private, completely confidential. You'll be in and out in 15 minutes or less. They do guarantee the lowest price on all of their thousands of lab tests. In 15 minutes or less, you'll probably be out in less than that. 15 is the longest thing. Can you imagine? You know, I've been to these big labs. You have an appointment, and still there, an hour, even two. Okay? Not at any lab test now of Coral Springs or any lab test now of Boca. And no doctor's order or prescription is necessary. Don't let those high deductibles stop you from taking control of your health and finding out the things you need to know. Now, I'll tell you another thing, too. sometimes you might go to the doctor just to have a blood test done, just to have a lab test done. That takes a lot of time out of your day. Go to any lab test now with Coral Springs. Go to any lab test now with Boca. In and out in 15 minutes or less. Going to the doctor can take half a day for just a simple lab test. And they will send your results to your physician if you would like them to. And that costs you nothing. It's part of it. Now, any lab test now of Coral Springs is located on the corner of University Drive and Ramblewood. Okay, and that's on the east side of University in that strip center around the Coral Square Mall. Any lab test now of Boca is located in the Sandalfoot Plaza in the Western Beef Shopping Center on State Road 7, 441, on the east side of 441 in Boca. And I'm going to give you the number for any lab test now of Coral Springs, but both numbers and addresses are listed at stevekaneshow.com. But if you have any questions about any of their tests, call them 954-906-5983. 954-906-5983. And again, these are the two locations that are sponsoring us here on the Steve Kane Show. So those are the ones we would like you to use, people. If you don't mind, I would appreciate that. Okay, so yeah, what's going on in the world of politics today, this really burns me. Bernie Sanders, Bernie Sanders burning me. This really burns me. And Bernie Sanders has been complaining about the press coverage he's received from liberal media outlets. I haven't seen any detailed stories on his immense wealth. About, when he was called out by Bloomberg in that debate a while back, and he talked about the beach house or lake house, and he said that he had a summer camp. Who the hell has a summer camp? Summer camp, that sounds like a very strange thing. And then Bernie said, he went through his houses. I have one in D.C. where I work. I have one in Vermont where I live. And like many other thousands in Vermont, I have a summer camp. And then he said to Bloomberg, what's your tax shelter? Did you hear that? What's your tax shelter? He says to Bloomberg, Bernie Sanders. Bernie's complaining about media coverage. Here he is. He wants to raise your taxes, he's telling you. And I haven't seen one reporter get into this aspect of what he said in that debate. What's your tax shelter? Who says such things to people? People that have tax shelters. I don't have a tax shelter. Do you have a tax shelter? He does. So he's, by that statement, with this summer camp thing that he has on the lake. What the hell? Does anyone go to that camp other than his wife and him? And I have no idea. And of course, the scandal with Bernie Sanders, with the wife at the college. You don't see any of these things discussed in the mainstream media, and he's still complaining about unfair media coverage. The media are giving him such a free pass. Look at what they've done to President Trump. Right? Look what they've done to President Trump. And he's done nothing wrong, and he's done nothing that is even up to be questioned. But Bernie Sanders, just in that one statement alone, and the thing with his wife at the college, there's lots of things to investigate in them, but they don't. They don't. And if these things were properly handled in the media, like they do with Trump, like they go after Trump on everything, if they took those two things, the financial scandal with the wife and this comment, what's your tax shelter, which implies that he has a tax shelter. You're a tax and spend communist, and you have a tax shelter? Not one question about that. Not one investigation about that. And I was surprised, because I've heard for years now about Bernie having this house on I thought it was a beach house, but was it on a lake? What a dump it was. It doesn't even look like it's habitable. Looked like a falling down, a shed. It looked like a shed. I was shocked. I was expecting some palace. Now, the real estate itself might be valuable, but I was shocked at the condition of this thing. I haven't heard anyone ever say, what's your tax shelter? I remember during the Republican debates in 2016, Romney and was arguing, or was it Romney? Was it when Romney was running in 2012, or was this 2016? It was either Rick Perry or Mitt Romney. I can't remember which one did this, so that's why I don't know if it was 16 or 12. But it was either Mitt Romney or Rick Perry who made a comment about something, and then they said, "I'll bet you $10,000 right now." Remember this? And it was like, "Oh, how out of touch! He's betting $10,000." Media did a whole thing on this for several days, but Bernie Sanders says, "What's your tax shelter?" And no one even follows up. Because the immediate question is, Senator Sanders, is this lake house a tax shelter? This summer camp, do kids come during the summer and stay there and learn canoeing and woodworking? What's going on? Is it Camp Rock? Is it Camp Commie? What's going on over there? Nothing. But he's complaining about unfair press coverage. There's also a little thing I noticed this morning with Rachel Maddow calling Biden out, won't go on her show. I don't know what that's about, but I did hear something yesterday that was going to be a big controversy. What they're now saying is, okay, now that Chris Matthews is gone off the air at MSNBC, what the rumor is that he is going to be replaced by Shepard Smith on MSNBC. And word did come out weeks and weeks ago that MSNBC was in discussions with Shepard Smith. And now it looks like they've opened up a time slot. And I'm starting to wonder now, because my first thought, they've got this cover story with Chris Matthews, which is total garbage, about this woman that he sexually harassed years ago. I don't buy that. And my immediate response to that was that's fake news. They got rid of him because of him criticizing democratic socialism. He was really outraged at Bernie Sanders after the Democrat debate. Remember this a couple weeks back? Now I'm thinking that's not true either. I think that they came up with this whole excuse to get rid of Chris Matthews before his contract was up to plug Shepard Smith into that position. Now, I don't know what time is Hardball even on now? I've kind of lost track of. Is it on at 6? So I guess it'd be in that same time slot. And I was wondering, what were they going to do with Shepard Smith? And they're going to replace Chris Matthews with Shepard Smith. Now, I will say, I will watch it. The first week, I will watch it a couple times, because we're going to talk about it on the air, but I'm not going to be a regular watcher of anything with Shepard Smith. And, Shepard Smith's a big disappointment to me. He was on the local news here in Miami for many, many years, and he was really good. And when Shepard Smith went to Fox News, I liked him. He was all right. He was up there with Jane Skinner every day, and he was like our hometown guy from the local news that made it to the big leagues. And then he became this self-important jerk. He'll fit in very well in that lineup at MSNBC because they're all unlikable. Lawrence O'Donnell, Rachel Maddow, Shepard Smith, and, Chris, whatever his name is, the white pasty kid that they got there. He'll fit in really well with a bunch of unlikable personalities as part of the MSNBC lineup. But I think they got rid of Chris Matthews to get him out of his contract and plug Shepard Smith in there. That's what it looks like. Well, Shepard Smith, I don't think he'll do well over there. I don't think he'll get along with any of them. He's going to come over there, Shepard Smith, with the Fox News ratings history and arrogance. He was the managing editor over there at Fox News. Even if he was the news director at MSNBC, he's not going to get along with these people. He's tainted. He's been at Fox News, and because he's got that Fox News smell about him, they're not going to like him. And I'll tell you another thing. I don't think Rachel Maddow is going to get along with another gay person over there. I think Rachel Maddow likes being the openly gay person of MSNBC with a big show, and I don't think she likes the idea of having an openly gay person taken away from her being the only openly gay person over there. There's going to be conflicts. They're not going to like him. He and Rachel Maddow will not get along. That's just my prediction. All right, 31 minutes after the hour. Let's take our break for the bottom of the hour, and we'll be back. I'm Brian Craig. This is The Steve Kane Show. Don't go anywhere.
Stop paying an outrageous fortune for your tires. Go easy on your budget and buy your tires at Friendly Tire in Margate, where they have all the major brands like Goodyear and Firestone at discount prices that
Hey, Rich, you're going to be with me today. Steve's out, so okay.
That's a $100 savings per tire. Tires for my daughter Emily's car, $135 at the shops around town. The price at Friendly Tire, only $65. That's a $70 savings per tire. These prices are out the door.
Exactly.
On the road. Free
That
Matthew
Shepard
and
Smith's got a
Allison
lot of
and
problems.
their
Guys, call me about
charges.
Shepard
Friendly
Smith. He's a
Tire has great
disgusting
selection
person.
of good used tires
He used to be all right.
at just $30 for most cars.
Not anymore.
Call my good buddy Friendly Mike at Friendly Tire. Tell him what you drive, and he will give you a great low price right over the phone. 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. Online, friendlytire.net.
The Steve Kane Show is brought to you by attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. Veterans and spouses of veterans, you may be entitled to benefits that you are not aware of, including long-term
Yeah.
care benefits. Call attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group and find out what benefits are available to you. With offices in Boca Raton and Fort Lauderdale, call toll-free 1-855-FLA-3782. 1-855-FLA-3782.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio.
All right. Welcome back. I'm Brian Craig. You are listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977. And on the line, it's time for our health report with Richard Pearl from Simply Natural in Sunrise. Richard Pearl, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Well, I'm always doing well. What's going on in the world of nutraceuticals?
I thought I'd talk about something that really is personally important. My dad died on about 15 years ago this month for neurological reasons. He had Alzheimer's. And the reason I'm bringing it up is, with all the politics that are going on, I watched Joe Biden, and I see that he's got early signs of dementia. And actually not that early, but early enough. And there are certain things that can be done to help the brain. And after my dad died, I made a formula called Brain Factors. I reformulated somebody else's formula. And I put in all the different things that could improve brain health. And I've had such exceptional responses to it. I just thought this would be timely to bring up. I mean, I haven't used it yet, but I own senilejoe.com. That's how convinced I am is that he has dementia. And nobody really wants to talk about it. And it's true in people's lives when they have family members that are not acting right. The first thing they want to do is deny its possibility, because everyone's scared that it not only could happen to their loved one, but it could happen.
So what's that? What is the supplement called again, Richard? What do you call it? What? Brain Factors. Now, what is this? Is this a liquid? Is it a pill? It's a capsule.
That had I won't go into all the functionality of it, but it has alpha GPC, and this is a type of choline that nobody heard of when I made this formula. It's still the number one form of choline that's used by the brain. And it has acetyl L-carnitine, which makes neurotransmitter.
Uh-huh. So it helps with memory, which is key.
Naturally. So
yeah.
As we age, our cells don't work as well, and one of the problems that we have is that we have a problem with short-term memory because we don't produce enough acetylcholine. And this product helps to do that. It also allows for nutrition to go to the cell and for the membranes to function properly. So what I found was that, and getting both hemispheres to work, et cetera, et cetera. So I made this formula because of my dad. And it was a legacy project. My dad wasn't interested in anything nutritional. It's just how he was. You can lead a horse to water, but you need a thirsty.
Yeah. Oh. Uh-huh. Well, I got to tell you, when I talk to seniors, the first thing that seniors are always, in my experience, looking for is help with memory. That's a big thing, and I can understand that. So, listen, if you can't remember the name of the supplement when you stop in or call Simply Natural, tell them you want that supplement that'll help with the memory. I think you'll all remember that. Simply Natural is located in Sunrise, just north of Sunset Strip on the east side of University. And you can call over there, 954-741-4045. And Simply Natural has incredible hours. You guys open at 11 and you open till 9 p.m., which is incredible hours. Yeah. So, yeah, 7 days a week, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m., 954-741-4045. And when you call over there, ask any questions you have. If you can't stop in, whether you can't drive over to Sunrise or you're even out of town, call. They will ship to you anywhere. Richard Pearl from Simply Natural just joining us here this week on the Steve Kane Show. But we go way back, many, many years with Richard Pearl and Simply Natural. All right, Richard Pearl, we will talk tomorrow. Well, thank you. We appreciate you. And give him a call about that memory supplement. All right, let's go to the phones here. You're on the radio. Oh, hey, Barry. You caught me off guard. Barry Siegel. Attorney Barry Siegel, that is, from the Siegel Law Group. Hey, Barry, how's it going? I'm doing well. We're just so you know, we're on the air. Because I just clicked you on. You never know. Sometimes my wife and daughter call me here, and I catch them off the air. So we're on the air. And, of course, Attorney Barry Siegel is, he does a couple of things. He does estate planning and elder law. So what's going on in the world of estate planning today, Barry Siegel?
One of the things I was thinking about the other day was watching classic movie Pretty Woman. And we all remember the scene where Vivian, played by Julia Roberts, walks back into the Beverly Hills boutique after she was just a day or so before kicked out. And then she comes in with, dressed well, ready to shop, to spend a lot of money. And then she said, you guys work on commission, don't you? And then she said, this big mistake, huge. We all remember that. And all those salespeople did was lose their potential big commissions. But another big mistake, a huge mistake, is if we take the wrong advice or don't, we potentially end up losing all of our assets and spending them really high risk of needing long-term care for ourselves.
That's right.
If we happen to become ill, and if we don't take the proper precautions and planning steps ahead of time to plan ahead. Many people, Brian, get the wrong information, either from their friends or family who may have gone through planning for Medicaid in other states and the rules are different there, or they just don't know. They think they have too much money, too much income, and they cannot qualify. So if you're listening to this today and you or someone you know or someone you love needs care either now or soon, it's worth exploring the possibility of getting benefits like Medicaid. At least come in and get the answers to find out if you're eligible or not. Again, it could be the difference between...
Yeah, don't think because you're a homeowner or whatever your financial condition is, you don't qualify for Medicaid assistance when it comes to at-home or nursing home care. Call Barry Siegel's office. Talk to the experts, okay? The number is toll-free, 855-FLA-3782, 855-FLA-3782. All right, Attorney Barry Siegel, thanks, and we'll talk tomorrow. All right, take care. Yes, tomorrow's Friday already. Oh, my goodness, so much going on, so much to talk about, and the clock is ticking towards the end. I got to tell you, the government... The interesting thing how things have changed. Famous quote from Ronald Reagan. Remember this quote? A lot of you guys will remember this. It's one of Ronald Reagan's most famous quotes, that the scariest words he ever heard were... Remember what the answer was? It was an old joke that Ronald Reagan used to tell all the time. The scariest words I ever heard were... A lot of you probably... If you either know it or you don't. I'm from the government and I'm here to help you. right? He used to say that all the time. And it's very funny. And it would always get a good laugh. But with Donald Trump, that's changed, right? I mean, you look at what's going on this week with the coronavirus. Just a few days ago, just last week, between the financial crisis they were promoting and corona, it was pretty scary last week. It looked like we were going to have this pandemic in America. The stock market was tanking, and boom, Trump has gotten control of everything. It's not that the government's scary and can't solve. There are certain problems that the government should be involved in that they can solve if you have a competent person leading, and that's Donald Trump. If any other person was president, in fact, even these other Republican presidents we've had, the action done by this president was so quick. Look at I'll give you an example of incompetent Republicans. George W. Bush, Hurricane Katrina. You know, and if you remember, Hurricane Katrina was a pretty big deal. It was Category 5. I don't know if it was 4 or 5 or was it 3 when it hit New Orleans? But the devastation was awful there. And George Bush didn't send FEMA in for days because there's a government procedure where FEMA, the president cannot send in FEMA until they're requested by the state. And Katrina was not long after, it was in G.W. Bush's first term, and it was not too long after the 2000 recount. And there was so much anger between Democrats and George Bush having won the presidency by like 150, 250 votes here in Florida, that they didn't want to cooperate with him. And Bush didn't send FEMA in for days because he was waiting for the state to request it. Do you think you think that would have been the way things would have gone with Trump? You know, do you think Trump would have been sitting around while that was going on, or would he have sent them right? He would have sent help right in immediately. He would have called up the governors. He wouldn't have sat back and waited for a phone call asking for help, right? He would have told FEMA, get ready, I'm making the call. But I mean, look at the great work he did in Puerto Rico. You know, Puerto Rico was hit pretty hard, and the devastation there was severe in large part because of the corruption of the government down there, the local officials. You know, and look at the great work President Trump did in Puerto Rico, which is an island that you got to sail everything to by ship. Can't respond as quickly as you could if it was in the lower 48, because you got to put things on ships and ship them there, so and fly something, so it takes longer to get there. Puerto Rico's spectacular. I mean, you know, we were there a couple years back, and you couldn't even tell there was a hurricane in San Juan. It was amazing what they did down there. And if Katrina would have hit New Orleans while Trump was president, those people in the Superdome, there would have been immediate relief, because that's how Trump is. Unlike George Bush, who was completely incompetent, George W. Bush. And it was a partisan thing. Well, no, the government, the rules are that you got to wait for the state to request it, and he can't do anything until they bull crap, he can't do anything. And look at what President Trump did this week, right? This is what he did with coronavirus. 1, he stopped travel from certain places. 2, he quarantined everyone immediately. 3, he got together with the airlines and set up testing procedures where the airlines test before they even take off in these regions multiple times, and then they test again when they get here. Then this new thing that he just added on was allowing states and local testing facilities in the states, which are mostly located in universities, from what I understand, to do testing for coronavirus. That's why it's been completely contained. It's not even a worry. No one's even concerned about, I'm not concerned about corona. I know the media are obsessing over it because they want to always scare the hell out of people. Could you imagine if Hillary Clinton had won the presidency? Coronavirus would still have been a factor if Hillary would have won the presidency. Can you imagine how many people in this country would be infected today if some incompetent like Hillary Clinton was the president, or George W. Bush were the president, or Barack Obama? We'd be in so much trouble. And boom, Trump has contained it. It's not an issue. There's nothing to be worried about, you know, and no one's fearful because he's competent. All right, let's take our last break of the day, 46 minutes after the hour. I'm Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Show. Don't go anywhere.
When you need drug or STD testing, you want to keep it private. After all,
Steve Kane
it's
Show.
no one's business but yours. At any lab test
Yeah.
now of Coral
Oh, you wanna go
Springs, they guarantee the lowest prices on all of their thousands of tests. And all of their testing is completely confidential. Drug and STD testing start at just $49. Drug testing results are available on the spot. No appointment necessary, no doctor's order or prescription, and be in and out in 15 minutes or less. If you have any questions, call any lab test now of Coral Springs, 954-906-5983. 954-906-5983. Any lab test now of Coral Springs is located at 955 North University Drive on the southeast corner of University and Ramblewood. Make sure you tell them you heard about them on the Steve Kane Show.
Feeling old, tired, run down, struggling with your sex life or weight control? Dr. Matez can fix it. Call the Boca Raton Center for Age Management at 561-953-5490 or visit their website at brc4am.com.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeart.
All right. Yes. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. Time to check in with William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated for the morning gold and precious metals report. William Youngerman, good morning.
Good morning, Brian.
I'm doing great. How are the metals doing?
Doing okay. The markets are still in great turmoil. The stock market trading up 1,000 points yesterday and now scheduled to play back down another 700 points today. Back and forth action on the metals also. Gold staying nicely above the $1,600 number with one dip down there last week, giving us a buying opportunity on Friday. But gold closed yesterday down $3.90 at $1,636.20. Silver was unchanged at $17.19 the ounce. Platinum was down $9 at $867, and palladium was up $58 at $24.42. This morning, gold pushing much higher, up $15.40 this morning at $1651.60. That puts us about $30 from the 7-year high that we hit earlier last month. The silver down or up 4 cents right now at $17.22. Platinum down $9 at $8.64, and palladium down $50 at $23.92. Obviously, the industrial metals are not doing well based on the concerns over the economy going forward with this virus situation. But gold, a safe haven, has done very well, and as I said, up $15.
Well, listen, if you want to get in touch with William Youngerman and his incredible team at William Youngerman Incorporated, give them a call, 1-800-327-5010, 1-800-327-5010, online, williamyoungerman.com, and, of course, located in Boca Raton on the first floor of the Bank of America building immediately east of US 1 Federal Highway on the south side of Palmetto Park Road. All right, William Youngerman, we will talk tomorrow. All right, take care. Oh, and on the line, my wife Kathy is on the line. And I answered the phone during the break. I thought she was telling me to bring home eggs and milk or something, but she wants to go on the air. So this is my wife Kathy. Good morning, Kathy. Yeah. Yes.
And, Fox News is obsessed with the coronavirus. It is all they're talking about day in and day out. And the reason is, people have to understand, there's no investigation going on with Trump anymore. And you and I talked about this yesterday. There's nothing to talk about. I mean, really, there's nothing going on with Trump other.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cases in each state. There's only been 2 in Florida. Washington, I think, has the most right now. But it's very well contained. But the media, they have nothing to talk about.
Well, Washington State, Washington State is one of those states where they have legalized marijuana, and I wonder if any of this has been passed around because they pass around the joints in the group when they're smoking in Washington State. I don't know. You can't share your joints, okay? I'm not kidding, by the way, with that. Well, what the media the media, including Fox News, are in the business of making Trump always look either incompetent or involved in scandal. And and you're right. They've got no scandal. They've got no incompetence. So they're hyping coronavirus to try to make Trump look. And that's why they didn't carry that whole press event that he had yesterday with Pence, because you could see how competent he is.
Well, you think about it, for the first time since Trump was elected, there's really no investigation. There's nothing going on.
Yeah.
After the impeachment, I said many times, what are the Democrats going to do now? It's hit the climax of the story, and there's nowhere to go. There's nothing.
Well, you know what it's like? Mike Tyson's in the news today. He gave some interview, and they asked him what his life was like without boxing. And he said it's empty. Well, that means he's had an empty life for almost all of his life. How long has it been since he had a fight? And that's what the news media, the mainstream media, there's no Trump scandal, and they feel empty. They've got their whole life in the media, Fox News included, revolves around trashing Trump, trying to harm his reputation, trying to cost him re-election. Now the coup ended with the acquittal. He's scandal-free. They got excited last week, the media, because the stock market went down, and then they had Corona, and that's all been reversed. And they're like Tyson. They feel empty. They're at work. They're on the air. They've got this 24-hour news cycle. They don't without Trump's scandal, they got nothing to fill it with.
Like with Chuck Schumer, with his thing, with the Supreme Court, he says they got nothing going on. I mean, they're just trying to get something going on because they just can't leave well enough alone to just do their job. They just to get people upset about.
Well, I'll tell you, when they put Shepard Smith on MSNBC, I can't wait.
To be very happy about.
No.
And I think it's because, Shepard Smith is very well known in the business, but the thing is, Megyn Kelly went to NBC, and she did not do what.
No, and Greta Van Susteren went to MSNBC after she left Fox, and that didn't last long.
No, I think it's a problem that he's affiliated with Fox.
Yeah.
Viewers are going to like him no matter what.
The viewers won't like him. The staff won't like him. And I was talking earlier, Rachel Maddow likes being the only openly gay anchor, so she doesn't want another openly gay anchor. That moves in on her territory and her niche. And there's it's going to be a train wreck.
Do you think Shepard Smith should work there? Because I think it would be not good for him.
Well, what they're going to find, this is what they're going to find. NBC is stupid because they made this mistake with Megyn Kelly. Megyn Kelly had very high ratings at Fox, and then when she left, she made a deal with NBC based on her ratings. And when Tucker Carlson was plugged in her place, surprisingly, he has higher ratings than even she had. So the ratings had nothing to do with her. Shepard Smith had pretty good ratings too, very good ratings, beating everybody. And they brought him over there. His ratings are not going to transfer. He's going to have high ratings the first week because people are going to check in out of curiosity, and then they're going to check right out. Like, I'll watch the first couple days, and then I'll be gone and never to return. And he's not going to have ratings anywhere. His lowest ratings at Fox will be higher than his highest ratings he'll ever get at MSNBC. And that's going to... I like Bill Hemmer. The election night coverage on Tuesday, Bill Hemmer was kind of leading it. He had the map and everything over there. And Fox News had the highest ratings of the other cable news on election night. And I liked Bill. I usually don't watch Fox News on election night. I watch CNN because their election night coverage is weak. And I can't stand Chris Wallace. But I forgot his name already. I got to get that supplement from Simply Natural. Bill Hemmer. Bill Hemmer made the election night coverage on Fox great. It was very good.
See, since Trump has been elected, how many top people in the media have lost their jobs?
Yeah.
Bill O'Reilly, Shepard Smith, of course he quit supposedly.
Yeah.
A lot of these people have been, Chris Matthews.
Shepard Smith. Shepard Smith is going to be a train wreck. Shepard Smith is going to be a train wreck at MSNBC. It's going to be it'll be kind of like Pierce Morgan, when they put him on in Larry King's time slot on CNN, he had a couple of big interviews, and it was either his first night or second night. I can't remember that Pierce Morgan was on CNN at 9 o'clock, and he had Howard Stern on. And Howard Stern said, what are you going to do next week? And he says, what do you mean? And he said, and Howard Stern says, well, you've got me on tonight, so you've got huge ratings. You have Oprah on tomorrow. That'll be another night. But what are you going to do next week? And he says, well, I have the #1 show in the UK. And he says being #1 in the UK is like being #1 in Jersey. And then he went down the tubes because Shepard Smith is going to be a ratings disaster. He left Fox News. He had a hysterical fit. So he's got a personality disorder and an ego that he's going to carry over there. Shepard Smith being on MSNBC, it's going to be like The View. It's going to be a complete train wreck.
It will, and he allowed his anger of Trump to destroy his career, basically. And that's what you're seeing here is with a lot of these people in the media is their personal feelings, their personal anger. It's destroying their careers because they just can't be objective, which is what they're supposed to be doing.
That's right. All right. Well, I'll see you when I get home later, Kathy. It's my wife. All right. All right. Take care. Take care. And Kathy, of course, you can hear she's my co-host on the Brian Craig Show podcast that we host. Over 900 episodes of the Brian Craig Show podcast with Kathy and myself on most podcast platforms. And you can also catch my podcast on my YouTube channel. I upload our podcast to YouTube, so check it out. Well, listen, Steve and I will both be back with you tomorrow at 6 a.m. My name is Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in, and we will see you tomorrow.
Have you checked your cholesterol lately?
All right, guys, take care. Subscribe if you don't subscribe, and I'll see you later.
Do a lab test now of Boca Raton. Guarantee the lowest